Assalamu alaikum, ladies, and welcome to the very first Balance and Thrive podcast series session. As you guys voted for to speak about energy and energy levels, that's what we're going to be doing today, inshallah. And I've titled it as The Real Reason Why You Are Always Tired. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name's Faria, and I'm certified in health, wealth, and wellness and nutrition. I'm also an insulin resistance coach. You can find me on Instagram under Healthful Wellness Coach. You'll see my logo just there on the first page. That's how it looks, a circle with a green, right? Okay. And I've helped a number of women balance their blood sugars, lose weight effortlessly, kill their sugar addiction, and have boundless energy. I have a special interest in quantum and circadian principles. And I've also helped women, aside from these things that you can see on the screen, we've also been able to help them balance their hormones, improve their gut health, improve fertility, and all of this without supplements, without calorie counting, without any portion restriction or anything like that. Mainly via my one-to-one coaching and also through my group coaching program. So just before we dive in, just a short disclaimer. The information provided to you today is for educational purposes only. It is not intended to diagnose or cure. If you have a serious medical concern, please reach out to a qualified practitioner. So, the one major concern that a lot of women that I speak to have today is related to energy, and is it something that you can actually overcome, like that feeling of fatigue, that feeling of being just drained all the time? Is it something that can be overcome without having to resort to, say, caffeine or to sugar, which is what a lot of people end up doing through their day? Well, let's just look at some stats, right? So they did a study in the UK in 2022, right? And they found, looking at women, that 61% of the women that they had looked into said that they feel tired when they wake up. And that's even when they actually got a lot of sleep. So it's literally three women in a group of 5, right, would be having those kind of symptoms. And also, they said half of the women that they surveyed, 50%, said that they felt tired at the end of the day, but they were struggling to fall asleep. And chronic fatigue syndrome is actually something that affects women more so than men, with a ratio of about 4-1, right? And it's something that's becoming more and more of a really serious issue, right? And I don't think there's been one sister that I've spoken to in the last few months that hasn't mentioned low energy as something being problematic for them, that either they feel tired during the day, or they can't sleep at night, or that they just don't feel rested, and they're just working on like half a battery throughout the whole day. So how is it that we can actually overcome this? The first thing for us to understand is what exactly is energy, right? Most people, they take that human being like a car analogy a bit too far, right? So how people say, oh yeah, we're just like a car, right? We need just to be fueled up, right? But is that the case? Do we just need more food? Is that what it is, that you're not eating enough? Maybe for some sisters it is. Maybe it is that they are not actually eating enough, right? And so what they do is they equate low energy to food. Now, nutrition can help. There's no doubt about it. But there also needs to be a way of you charging up your batteries in the absence of food. Okay. So energy is actually made in your mitochondria. Okay. Now your mitochondria is, you could say, almost like the engine of your cell, right? And we've got trillions of these in our body, right? The powerhouses of each and every cell. Now, what the mitochondria do is that they extract electrons from food, right? And that can have the ability to charge up the body. Now, foods that generate the most energy, right? So where you're going to get the most benefit out of is going to be saturated fats. So things like butter, cheese, red meat, those kind of things, right? And foods that tend to generate the least amount of energy are actually carbohydrates, which is probably totally opposite to what we understand. I mean, even at school, like we were told, carbs are energy givers, right? But according to our cells, that isn't the case. In reality, we actually only gain 1/3 of our energy from food. The other 2/3 can be gathered for free. Okay. So recent research indicates that up to 90% of our energy can be harnessed from non-food choices. Okay. So electrons is what you actually need. Okay. And this is what your body recognizes. It doesn't recognize calories, it recognizes electrons. This is what it actually recognizes. Okay. Electrons. Now, electrons are actually what gives the body energy. Okay. And electrons can be gained from your environment and they can create that feeling of more energy. So what tends to happen is, right, after about the age of 25, roughly, we tend to have lower electrons in the body. Okay. And the body is not very efficient at making them at this point. So now you need to be making a concentrated effort to gain them somehow. Okay. One thing that you have to understand also is that there isn't a way, there isn't a tool to measure, or like a test, right? A blood test or whatever, to measure just how many electrons you have. So the one thing that people kind of base it on is how they feel. Okay. And most of us know exactly how exhausted we tend to get, right? So and listen, just to bear in mind, right? Just because most of our energy isn't harnessed from food, like we shouldn't just say, okay, that means we can eat anything. That isn't the case, right? We still have to make sure that we are nourishing ourselves well, because that whole saying, right? You are what you eat, and literally your cells become what you feed them. The best way to truly maximize the energy potential of our body is to understand that there are energy givers and energy stealers. Okay, so when you get this, you will know, right, okay, this is what's going to zap me of energy, right? So I'm going to try to avoid that. Or if I have to be in that environment that is stealing energy from me, let me now put myself in a place where I can gain energy, right? So let's have a look at what exactly gives us free energy then, right? So many don't actually realize that natural light is one of the best free tools to maximize your body's energy environment. It literally is a way that you can charge your internal battery. And how does that happen, right? It happens when the water that is around your cells, remember, ladies, we are majority water, right? And that water is not just like the water that comes out of the tap, the water that we drink. It's called exclusion zone water. Okay. That water around your cell has the ability to expand 4 times. Okay. And that is when that expansion happens, is when you start feeling more energetic. Okay. Natural light is going to be one of the best ways that you can harness the ability of your cells to do it. Okay. And it's considered a huge energy giver. It's a way that your cells become hydrated. Okay. Another way to charge your internal battery and to give yourself free energy is through grounding. Okay. Grounding is an opportunity for us to take those free electrons from the earth. So it happens as soon as your bare skin touches the ground or something in the ground that you're touching with your hands, right? And it has a profound impact on how we feel. Scientists have looked at this and they've done so many tests, they've done like live blood analysis of this. And when they've looked at like red blood cells just 10 minutes after grounding, they noticed that the blood cells, instead of being all sticky and sluggish and like in a huge pile, like, pancakes stacked up, right? That shows that they've actually lost their charge. 10 minutes after grounding, the cells actually start to spread out. Okay, they start to repel one another, and it has this exclusion zone water around it, right? Almost like a halo, they even say, right? And that is an indication that blood is flowing. Okay, that is an indication that the blood now has a charge. Okay, and this has been like there's many documentation of grounding and its effect, right, in science and in other literature as well. So it's just amazing to me how, Alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed us with so much in our environment that is such a crying shame that we are not making use of them. Okay, this is free energy for us to just take in. Okay, so make use of these things. And another way that we can create energy is through movement. Now, I get it, right? When you're tired, when you don't have energy, when you're just feeling really down, the last thing that you're going to be thinking about is moving, right? I get it. Okay. But this simple thing, even just a walk outside, even just standing in one place and doing some squats, okay, is going to give you a boost. All right. It's going to boost your energy reserves through movement. Okay. That is going to allow oxygen to start moving around, and you're going to feel different. You're going to be harnessing more energy into you. Right. Give it a go. Like the next time you're feeling tired, start moving, maybe go for a quick 2-3 minute walk around the block, right? Or just go into your garden and just, run on the spot, do a couple of jumps, move, and like see how you feel. And you will notice a difference, inshallah. So now we know where we can actually make energy from our environment. Let's learn about what steals it from us, okay? Because this is a big one. One major thing that is also in our environment would be NNEMFs, which translates to be non-native electromagnetic fields. Okay. So we're talking about things like Wi-Fi devices, right? Bluetooth exposure, wireless devices, yeah, wearable electronics. Like never in the history of time have humans been exposed to this much bombardment from these fields, and they are actually causing an havoc on our health. What these things tend to do is they have the potential to start draining out that exclusion zone water that is around our cells and to cause the mitochondria to start to dysfunction. Okay, so your mitochondria literally make you, right? We need to support them as much as we can. And this is what's going to cause them to just dry out. Okay. Another way that energy is stolen from the body is through dehydration. And I'm not just talking about the lack of drinking water. Okay. So when your cells are truly dehydrated, okay, some things that will happen to you will make you understand that, okay, this has become an issue. One thing that you have to realize is that um, true cellular hydration isn't just through drinking water, okay? When we're talking about that exclusion zone water, that we want it to be hydrated. And how you know that it's becoming a problem? Well, if you struggle to sweat, that's a big indication that you don't have enough exclusion zone water. Okay, and that's the very water that you need to feel more energetic. That dryness in the body can also show up in other areas. Dry skin, dry hair, if you tend to have like a dry mouth, dryness of your GI tract, dryness of your gut, right? So that would lead to things like constipation. If you're getting joint issues, right, it's a dryness of your fascia, it's a dryness of the tissues itself, like they're stiff. When your cells are properly hydrated, you will rid yourself of these issues. Another energy stealer would be artificial blue light. Okay, and unfortunately, Qadar Allah, like in these colder seasons, what tends to happen is that we spend more time indoors and we spend more time under these artificial lights, okay, which for the majority of us tend to be very blue light heavy lights, okay, because that's just the way that they've made them now. They literally dehydrate our cells and they cause you to feel drained and exhausted. I want you guys to notice next time you're in an environment, because I take one of my daughters to swimming sessions, and they're in the mornings, but we're sitting under this light, and I can literally feel myself having to yawn right at the beginning of the day, and it's really strange. Like, notice how you feel, okay, when you are under these lights, because they literally just zap the energy out of you. And this is during the night, it's a huge problem, but also during the day. Okay. And they have been shown in studies to affect mood, um, to lower energy levels. And a big one is that they increase insulin in the absence of food, right? So if you are under these bright lights at night, they're going to be increasing insulin, right? Making you feel hungry at night. All right. So this is why they become problematic for energy levels as well. So what are some indicators that your body's internal charge needs help? Because some people might say, well, you know what? I actually feel good. I don't actually feel tired. But there are some signs that you need to be aware of that maybe your mitochondria actually need some help. Okay. So aside from feeling fatigue, right, which is a huge indicator, notice how else you also feel. Okay. Because that's a big thing. Are you waking up from your sleep feeling unrested? Are you tired throughout the day? Do you have the urge to nap all the time? Right? Other indicators would be an inability to tolerate cold. Okay, you just can't hack it. And then it would be an inability to tolerate sunlight. You go out into the sunlight, you get a migraine. Your eyes start watering. You just can't be in like really bright sunlight. If you have a constant need to eat, if you have an inability to lose weight despite trying so many things, right? Because if your body is not efficient at making energy, it's going to be deficient at so many other things too. Okay, it's not just that you're feeling tired. Okay, there's a number of things, a cascade of events even that are happening internally. And usually, a lack of energy, like feeling fatigue, all that kind of stuff, is probably the first sign that your health is taking a decline. Okay, so that is like a big warning engine light that's come on your system, and you need to start taking steps to figure out what's going on for you. And this is why if you just kind of focus solely on food, right, which is a very individual thing, um, you're not going to address the root cause of why you are low in energy. And that's why, like, what may work for me in terms of food may not necessarily work for you, and vice versa. And so on my group program, I don't have like a meal plan. Like I say, right, ladies, for the next 6 months, you guys have to eat this. I don't offer that because I know that by and large, this issue is needs to be addressed through a lifestyle point of view and not from where you are eating. Okay. So just kind of bear that in mind. Like when your body is shutting down, when you're feeling drained, it's a sign that your cells need some attention. And I hope that you guys have gained a little insight today. I just want to give you guys, a little snippet of what can be done, inshallah, and how you can actually start improving your cellular health through lifestyle changes.